in my hand I have the Taylormade Qi10, the latest driver from Taylormade, price-wise £499. Apparently offering huge level of forgiveness, distance, the latest and greatest technology. But I've also got this driver. This might be a driver Taylormade do not want you to buy, because right now in retail here in the UK, it's half the price of the Qi10. Surely we've got to test it for a head-to-head. Boom. Performing really nicely. Let's put this in the bag. As I mentioned, Taylormade Qi10. It's actually been a successful driver launch for Taylormade this year. Price-wise, £499. And the whole idea, it's this quest for inertia of 10K, this ultimate forgiveness driver. What's also interesting with this driver is you've seen a lot of very good players, like even Rory McIlroy, Scotty Scheffler, using the more standard version of Qi10, not the super low spin model. This is the max version, the most forgiving model. And what I'm interested to see today, compared to the Sim2, which was released 3 years earlier, what are the differences? We're looking at a few factors. Forgiveness, definitely. Distance, overall numbers, feel, all those factors. As I mentioned, the price for the Qi10, £499 brand new. Now what's mad, the Sim2 Max, right now, found online, half the price of that Qi10 at £249 brand new. Now this is a bit of a tricky situation for Taylormade. Like, they don't want you buying this driver at all. They want you buying the Qi10. Now granted, every sale is good for Taylormade, I'm sure, but they want you using the latest and greatest, more expensive driver than the one that's 3 years old. But as again, you know, on this channel, we get honest, independent, trustworthy reviews. I'm going to tell you whether this driver is as good as the Qi10. Is it as forgiving? Is it as long? Do the numbers match up? And can you make a massive saving and potentially pick up the Sim2? It's a bit of a bargain club. So without further ado, let's get here. I'm actually going to start off with Qi10 first, and then we'll jump into the Sim2 Max. So the Qi10, it's been a successful driver for Taylormade this year. Like this quest for inertia of 10K, the most forgiving driver Taylormade have ever made. Infinity carbon crown, so the way they've kind of wrapped this crown around the toe and the heel. 10K MOI. This driver's still got twist face, carbon twist face, and it's 60 layer carbon twist face. Remember, it's dark in the colour, the face is kind of this dark navy, the crown is kind of blacked out. I reviewed this earlier in the year, you can check out the full review. But what I'm going to do now is hit some full shots with the Qi10, see what the numbers produce, and then we can let rip with the Sim2 also. It's a good looking driver, it's very big in shape. Right, let's hit some driver shots. Okay, that was a decent hit, very forgiving. I didn't feel like I struck it right in the middle, but a good opening tee shot. Let's get a batch of shots so we can compare this with the Sim2 Max. Whack me in the head. Boom. All right guys, that was a good batch of hitting with the Qi10. I actually really enjoyed hitting that driver then. We'll come on to the numbers shortly once I've hit the Sim2. What I'm just going to do here is switch the shaft, so it's a like for like. Again, this isn't a fancy shaft that I've got in the Qi10, it's pretty standard. And let's put that in the Sim2 Max. On initial hits, Qi10 definitely felt very forgiving. There's no question about it. I am just now intrigued to see how that compares to this driver from 3 years old. And just to say, this is £249 right now, brand new. Half the price of the Qi10. It's surely not going to perform half as well, is it? So let's whack a load of Sim2. It's such a different driver head. It's actually, if you said which one's newer between the two, I'd actually probably, I would say Sim2 Driver head looks more modern. Like that really distinguished dark grey carbon crown. Flicks of kind of the blue, the white. Again, the technology story with this driver when it first got brought out, speed injected twist face. So the way that they've actually inserted kind of speed foam here behind the face to apparently bring the limit down to as close as legal as possible. The Sim inertia generator, which we saw on the original Sim driver, this kind of almost fin coming out the bottom of the driver, which is to help with club head speed on the way down. And also the speed slot underneath, again, to make the face as fast and as powerful as possible. The story with this driver, the Sim2 Max, tiny little bit of a forgiveness story, but that's not the main story. Sim 1, Sim 2, and even Stealth 1 and Stealth 2 are all about distance and speed. It's only since the Qi10 have they started talking really about forgiveness and dispersion. So I'm intrigued, I'm excited. Let's give the Sim 2 a hit, and then we can compare the numbers. That felt really nice. Sounds slightly different. Slightly deader noise, but the art's a good drive. That was a really, really good drive. Wow. Well, those first few shots, I might put this in the bag. It's performing really nicely. Okay, last shot. I feel like if this one goes well, it could be a landslide result. I really do. See what happens. Oh, really good again. Oh my goodness, this is going to be interesting. All right, guys, so the results are in, and I've got a strong recommendation at the end of these results. Let's kick things off with Qi10 Max. Now, I have been working a little bit distance recently. I've been working out in the gym, increasing my club head speed and getting more distance.
Do you even lift, bro?
Qi10 281 carry distance, which is solid for a forgiving driver model. I'm happy with that driver. 2,400 spin, pretty much bang on 159 miles per hour, ball speed, just over 110 miles per hour club head speed. Pretty much what I'd expect to see. That was kind of cruising speed. Now, coming on to the Sim2 Max, bearing in mind, it's half the price of the Qi10, and it's 3 years older, which is crazy. Distance-wise, the Sim2 Max was longer by 6 yards, 287 yards of carry distance. I was hitting it really nicely. Ball speed jumped up to 162. Club head speed also increased. I think it's a head shape that allows me to swing it a little bit faster, Sim2 Max. Club head speed was nearly 112 miles per hour. Pretty much spin rate, launch angle, everything else was the same, just distance and ball speed, massive changes. And also dispersion. This is what's crazy. If you said to me, what's the most forgiving driver out there at the moment, I would put Qi10 Max in that category. It's a little bit draw biased, and I draw it anyway. It's a little bit draw biased, but you can see from the blue circle there, the dispersion between right and left is fairly large. Not horrendous, but fairly large. Compare that to the red circle of the Sim2 Max, which was much smaller. For me, it's a bit of a no-brainer. If I had the choice between these two drivers, I'd be buying this every single day of the week. Half the price, and for me, performed just as good. In fact, it didn't perform just as good, it performed better.